Wow. Take two with the record button pressed this time. All right. So, since it's the second time I've done this video and the first time you're seeing it, I'm just going to jump right into it. We're talking about equipment and some baselines. Now, this is not necessarily a video for the high-end players and such like that. So if you need a little bit of tips, maybe for thinking of what to do with your mini later, okay, hang out. You might see something new. What we're going to do, I'm going to start with trinkets, because these apply to every march. They don't really care. They don't have any real troop preference, so to say. Best trinket, Silent Trial. Has a chance to give your opponent minus 10 rage when you hit them. And that can occur, I think, like once every 5 seconds or something. I don't know. But the more of those that are on the field and field fighting when you're working together as a team, the better it is. That's more rage being taken away from your opponents. Less skills they're getting off, less buffs, less debuffs, less damage. Pretty straightforward. They do less. That's all. Next item I feel on like my chart of things I really like. It's not out yet, but it's supposed to be in the Lost Canyon loot. So if you're going into KVK 6 in a couple months, this is probably an item you want, called Call of the Loyal. And it's a blue accessory that gives your march 5% movement speed. That's pretty good. I mean, why not have 5% more movement speed? Some people pick civilizations just for the 5% movement speed. Sounds good. Next down is one that is available right now, Delane's Amulet. And what it does is, when you're attacking someone, you take 5% less counterattack damage. Seems good. In a normal march, it's not that big of a deal. But when you think about it and you're like taking a rally and those counterattacks are coming out like really hard, it's a big deal. It's a selfish item, but in the more that your counterattack damage you're taking, the more important it is. Basically. Last item that's actually available right now that is like, if you have nothing else to make, which is almost impossible with all the new equipment out, so don't give me that excuse. Skull's Lucky Coin. 10% chance to get a 500 power shield for 2 seconds once every 5 seconds. You get a better shield from Charlemagne as a secondary. Think about it. Do you really want to do that to yourself? When you could just be taking 5% less counterattack damage and taking away 10 of their rage? Is it? It's not worth all the materials. Just don't. If you don't have it yet, good. Don't. You have a coin blueprint that's going to be there forever. Okay. Now we're going to move on to actual troop type special factorizations. Starting out with cavalry. Now, cavalry, it's pretty straightforward. As a good baseline to what to build. And then after that, you can figure out what you want to do with it later. I say that the baseline for cavalry is the Windswept set, all 4 pieces, and the Vanguard set, both pieces. Now, with the Windswept set, on the helm, you get 4.5% attack. On the chest, you get 4.5% defense. The gloves and the boots, you get 2.5% health. Pretty basic stats for a blue item. Seems right, considering most of the blue items have stats for other troop types too. The real boost of this set is that the 2-point set bonus is 2% attack to all troops. So that's good. And the 4-point set bonus is 4% movement speed to all your troops. Also very good. But the real beauty is that every single one of those 4 pieces is going to give you another 3% movement. So all in all, with 4 pieces of gear, you just increased your movement speed by 16%. That's enough movement speed to keep up with a mobility commander with a normal cavalry commander if they don't have the windswept set. It's that big of a difference. It can make up for a lot of speed that you don't have in your spec, or it can make that spec even faster. Can you imagine cow mobility with all that? Hermigerd! And if you specialize it, that speed goes up. Yeah. Like, you could get 20% movement speed out of a fully specialized set of Wincept. That's a lot, dude. Yeah. And if you wanted to, and the Vanguard set, the spear has 5% defense and 4% health, which for a green item, that's fucking phenomenal. That's 9% of stats for one troop type. That's baller. And it's really hard to upgrade out of that, especially if you get it specialized, which it's a green and you get a lot of them from quests. So it's really easy to get one or two of them specialized on the cheap. And then you're getting an insane, probably about 12% of stats on one item, which is almost an epic from a green. Then we go to the pants. Pants give you 4% attack, 1% health. It's alright, but when you have the set, you get 2% more attack. So basically you consider the pants as being 6% attack, 1% health. Still not bad. If you wanted, you could graduate those pants up to like the gladiator leggings, but other than that, just you could use that for a very, very long time until you were just like, okay, now it's time to forge all my epics. And then you start slowly replacing some of the green stuff. I don't know how quickly I'm going to be replacing windswept stuff. It's just, I want to go fast. Rick and Bobby, shake and bake. Let's do this. All right. And that brings us to infantry. And with our foot dudes, I basically have the same equipment almost. I have the windswept set plan as the starter lineup for infantry. And with that, the only stat that really changes is the boots give 2.5% defense instead of health. Everything else still the same. You still can get 16% movement speed. You still can get all that defense and attack from blues. And who doesn't want 16% movement speed? Come on. Who wants to feel like when you're being chased by a cavalry unit and your Richard's like, haha, peace. Like, you know how much that infuriates a cavalry player when a Richard just walks away? It's worth it. Especially when it's tier 5 chasing you and you're like, gotta go, peace, skadoosh. Now, but that does still leave open the weapon and the pants slot. And for infantry, there's a lot of options. In the weapon, you could start with the Blessed Blade. It's got some attack. It's not that big a deal. And then you can go to the shield. And the shield has 8% health base, which is really good. If you're running a tanky march, it's good. You can stick with that for forever, probably. And if you want to upgrade out of the shield or past the shield and get some attack stat, you get the Fubaki. Or is it Fubaki? But it's 13% attack for infantry. And that's really good. Especially on one item. Like I said earlier, like 9% of stats on one item for a troop type is really good. And you'll see it there again. Weapons seem to have around that 13 mark. And then when you go to the pants, you can try the Ranger's pants. It's like starts out 4% attack. It's a green. You don't expect much. Easy to specialize. Then you can go to the Sentries, which are blue. They have 6% attack. It's not that big a deal. You'll probably... I'm not using any of my blue boxes for most things except for windswept. Just saying. Because I want to get that specialized as soon as possible for all my marches that I put it on. After the Sentry with their attack stat, you can move to the Kerouac's Humility for 8% health. It's pretty good. it's 8% health. I mean, if you get lucky and get it specialized, that's a lot of stats. And it'll help your march survive longer. Upgrading from there, it's really just, it's when you feel that your march can sacrifice that movement speed for more stats. It's completely up to you on that point, and it's based on what your march does, which I'll get to that after I explain my starting points. And then we go to our archers, or our bow dudes, and they don't really have a good baseline as far as like boom, boom, done. Now, for the weapons on the archers, you can start with the Blessed Blade, attack 4% attack, it's a green, that's what you get. You can get the Staff of the Lost, probably already have one at this point, because you might have forged it before equipment got changed. And it's got 8% defense for archers. Solid. Archers are generally squishy and catchable. They need to be tanky. And you can go from there to Golden Age, the Epic, with defense of 13. Really solid. It's got other stats for other units, but we're focusing. Stay with me. So that's the basic path. And with that, you go to your helms. You can start with the Phoenix helm. Has 4% defense for archers. It's pretty good. I mean, for a green, it is what it is. But they really don't have anything else until you get to the Epic, which I'm going to tell you, if you're putting epics on your archers, you want the revival set. Just do it. And in that case, the revival helm would be the next step. It's just good. I mean, you could go for Abyssal, but why? I mean, if you have it, you have it, but revival is a much better forge just because of what it does. It starts out at 7.5 defense just for the helm. You go to your chest plate. You can get the blue heavy armor, which has 6% health for archers. Really good. And then later on, get the revival plate chest, which has 7.5% attack. I know, it doesn't seem like a lot of gain from a blue to a purple, but the set bonus is worth it. Then you go to your gloves. You can start with the leather. They have 2.5% health. You could go to the gloves of the Saint with 4.4% attack. And then you can go to revival with 4.5% attack. Now, again, it's not that much of an upgrade when you go from the blues to the purples on archers. I know that sounds like it sucks. It's like archers are powerful or something. But that set bonus is really good. Now, I'll explain that in a second. Then you go to your pants. Start out with the Greaves of the Exile. 6% defense. Really solid. And you go to the revival with only 7.5% defense. It is what it is. With boots, you can start with the edged boots with a 2.5% attack. And there isn't really any other boots until you get to the Epic, which I would suggest Flame Treads with 5.5% health for archers. Seems really good. Now, the reason I have the revival as my suggestions there as your final points is that the set bonuses are really good. With the 2-piece, you get 3% attack to all troops. With the 4-piece, you get 3% defense to all troops. It's really good. And if your archer is sitting on your wall, protecting your city, and your city's getting hit, as many people have said before, that's like 12% attack and like 12% defense. It's good. It helps. Now, that's just the baselines of what like my plans are, basically. Obviously, I plan for other epics afterwards, but it's really going to depend on your marches. And to plan on those marches, you have to analyze what they do. And with that, if you're building a tanky march, when you upgrade out of some of those pieces, you'll want stats with defense or health. Health being the priority, defense sub-priority, because health is harder to find in general, whether it's in your stats, your items, your boosts, the Alliance technology, Ark of Osiris. You get less health everywhere. So anything that gives you more health is better because you'll get more out of it. All right. Now, on that facet, there's other things to consider. Like, if you have all the gathering stuff from that $10 bundle, don't dismantle it. Use it. Because, I mean, you get a huge get boost to your gathering speed. You get a gathering boost at the end from when you turn in. And if you got all of that on one march and you forge the blue pants and the blue boots to put onto that same gatherer, I'd probably use a Joan of Arc until Legendary's expertised, possibly. Maybe depending on... And the reason I say that's because this is going to be for your Alliance node. And if your Alliance says, boom, here's our wood node, you're like, oh, sweet. You throw all that stuff on the gatherer, the main gatherer that you're sending there that has the best gathering speed, and send them in with all that stuff. They gather nearly twice as fast with all the purple and blue on, and they get another like 25% of loot afterwards, and it's like, ah, yeah. You know, optimizing your gathering. And the reason I know about that is because I planned on doing it specifically for Arc. So when I have that one march over gathering level 1s, 2s, and 3s the entire match and I bring it back, I basically have gotten like 4 or 5 free nodes in Arc worth of turn-in at the end. And I think my last time I turned in with just one march, I think I got like 5,000 points just from that one march running around the entire match while I was fighting with the rest of my troops. Just keep it in mind. Just because it's not good for fighting doesn't mean it's not good. Except for Skolas' lucky coin. Don't do it. It's bad.